The hell is going on the TV behind me? Oh, it seems to be a commercial for Disneyland. Hi, everybody. Welcome into the High Noon stream. I am Pugs Moran. I do this every Monday through Friday since 2021, saying the quiet part out loud. All right. I'm on pure adrenaline. I'm tired. I am so tired. Did the morning show today with Sybil over there on 97.1 The Freak. That was a good time. Hold on. I'll get the chat going. Chat is now working. There you go. Oh, did I have a night? I am so tired, you guys, but that's okay. We got a full show. Hi, April. April's here. Let's say hi. Cam's here. All right, more people coming in the chat room. Let's go. Here we go. Barney. Byron. There you go. I like everybody say hello so I can say hi back. Jen's here. My voice is a little bit it's a little bit shot. I don't know why that is, but oh, hold on. Got something in my pocket. It's a remote control. All right, you guys. Boy, oh boy, what a night that I have last night. We're going to get into it. I'll tell you what the show is. The show is all about current events, about everything that's happening today. We run down a list of all the hot topics and all that, and I just opine and we move on. The show is designed to make sure that you know a little bit of something about everything that's going on. We do the show in 4 quarters, 4 different segments. First one, antecedently on this day. That's what quarter 1 is called. That's this day in history, but it's through my lens, so you know. Then we do birthdays. You know what that is. That's self-explanatory. Thirdly, third quarter is deads. I need to take a break. I don't know why I'm rushing. This is my happy time. There's no more stress. You know, the morning show is pretty stressful. That's a wonderful place. So wonderful people and all that, but still, it's pretty stressful. I can relax now. Quarter 4 here in the 4-quarter show is the hot topics, current events, everything that's happening today. So, the purpose of the show is I give you everything in the first 3 quarters that happened on this day in the past. And then in the 4th quarter, we spend the bulk of the time of the show going through the hot topics and all that stuff. All right, we're going to do it. We're going to be fine. My throat's going to be fine. I'm going to make it, even if I have to talk all sexy like this. Byron says, I woke up to listen and fell back to sleep until 30 minutes ago. Missed it all. Well. Hey, you tried. What can I tell you? You tried. I appreciated the effort. Peter, thank you. That's nice. Peter threw us a nice little compliment as well. Yeah, we had fun today. It was a busy show. There was a lot of stuff going on, but that's not what happened. So last night around 7 o'clock, 7:30 or so, Sybil and I are talking via the Skype. We're just planning what are we going to do, who are we going to have on, what are we going to, this is too much show, all that kind of stuff. And she said to me, I go, look, I'm going to probably go to bed about 9:30. 9:30, you got to go to bed at 9:30 if you're going to wake up, to do a morning show. I'm like, I'm probably going to bed at 9:30. And she goes, yeah, I don't know if I'll go to bed that early. I go, what time are you waking up? Sybil goes, 2:30. I'm like, what? You're waking up at 2:30 in the morning? I'm like, I felt bad. I'm like, I'm going to wake up at 4:30. So she woke up at 2:30. Because she said, she's like, I have to do my hair and makeup. And I'm like, okay, I guess that is more than what I have to do. I just rolled out of bed, jumped in the shower, jumped into some clothes and drove in. However, my plans were upended terribly last night. I got no sleep last night at all, probably about an hour and a half. I was awake when my alarm went off at 4:15 this morning. I was awake. My eyes were open for about 5 minutes. And I'm like, well, it's going to happen any minute now. May as well lay here. Here's what happened. So, my stupid dog, who I love, who I call stupid, but I still love her. My stupid dog had an incident last night. Apparently, while I was up here, she's here in the new place and she's roaming around. I made the mistake of leaving a 10-pound bag of dog treats on the counter. Now, I've told you about the athletic prowess of this dog in the past. The Catahoulas in general, the Catahoula leopard dog is considered a wildly athletic animal. They climb trees, they chase boars, they fight bears. They are just they run through swamps at high speeds. They're just very athletic. So putting a 10-pound bag of dog snacks on the counter isn't going to keep this 75-pound of beef away from it. So unbeknownst to me, while I was up here talking with Sybil, she was downstairs eating an entire 10-pound bag of dog treats. She's also an incredibly bright animal, which will explain what happened next. I didn't know she ate a whole 10-pound bag of dog treats last night because she knew to cover up the crime. She didn't leave the empty bag on the floor. She took the empty bag, she dragged it through the dog door, and she put it way in the back of her dog run. So I didn't see it. I didn't know what was going on. Here's how I learned what was going on. About 10 o'clock last night, while I'm getting ready to go to bed, she starts going, she's like making these noises. And I'm like, what's wrong with you, girl? What's going on? She's like, and then she gets up and she runs and she goes out her dog door. I'm like, well, that's weird. What's going on with her? So I follow her. I go out to the dog door. She vomits all over. She knew enough. Again, she knows to do that outside. So she vomits all. She's like projectile. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? Holy crap. Do I now have to, I got to do a morning show tomorrow. I got to be up in a couple of hours. Do I have to take this dog to one of these 24-hour vets? Then I look in the back of the yard and I see the bag, the giant bag of dog treats. I'm like, oh no. You just got a stomach ache because you ate too much candy. That's what you did. She ate way too much. She has had explosive diarrhea ever since. Look at her. There she is right here. She's trying to get comfortable now. What are you trying to lay down? Did you eat all the dog treats? Yeah, she did. Where are you going? Hey, everybody wants to see you, dummy. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Hey. Sorry, this camera's hard to control. So basically all night long, I had to walk her like 3 times because she can't just be explosive diarrhea all over the dog yard. That's not going to play here. So I don't know, about 3 times last night between 10 o'clock and 1:30 in the morning, I had to take her for walks where she would either vomit more of these dog treats or she would just diarrhea dog treats all over the sidewalk. It was a nightmare. Then to make things worse, I'm like, okay, we can wait this. We'll sleep, right? We'll lay in bed and I'll get some shut eye. And, when she needs to go out, she'll start barking and I'll do this because I feel a little bad for her, even though she knows what she did. I can make this work. Then a war breaks out. Then suddenly now I'm up because I'm trying to watch the end of civilization as we know it because Israel decided to fire back at Iran. I got no sleep last night, you guys. I'm so tired. And it's boys' weekend. I got my son coming tonight. He's going to be mad when at like 8:30 tonight. I'm like, dude, I want to go to bed. I'm really tired. I got to go to bed. What a day. Hi, Jeff. Jeff's here. Jeff says at least she went outside. The demon dog threw up on my lap 2 nights ago. Yeah, no, she's good. She is actually really good about that. She has been punished enough to know that inside the house, she can get away with very little. Entire 10-pound bag. She hasn't been right since. She's feeling better. I know because I brought a sandwich home from the radio station. And she immediately started begging me for the sandwich. I'm like, okay, there you go. Now you're getting back into your normal. Last night I was eating Doritos. I grabbed some Doritos, and normally that means she's going to be my shadow. She wanted nothing to do with Doritos. As a matter of fact, I pulled one out of the bag and I put it under her nose. And she did that thing that dogs do, where they're like, and then just like they turn away from it. Which is rare for her because she will go to town on some Doritos. History has shown. All right. Hey, Kevin. Kevin's here. Frank's here. All right, let's get started. What do you say? We're going to run through some stuff. I can't promise you a full 2-hour show. I am going to give you all of my heart into this show. I promise you that. But again, I don't know how long it's going to go. We'll shoot for 2 hours, but you know how that is. Also, I said it's Boys Week. I'm very excited. Tonight, this is a story that we were going to talk about, but there's a very big movie that is debuting, not on one of the streaming services tonight that I have been waiting to see, and I'm going to try and stay up, and I'm going to try and watch it with my kid tonight because, whoa, are we excited about this movie? I'll tell you what that is when we get into our trending topics. But first and foremost, as I said, it is Boys Weekend, so we're very excited about that. And I have to remind you, every day we have an executive producer on this show. Today is no different. Thankfully, not every day. Some days we don't get any tips. The show runs on your tips. I appreciate you. Today's executive producer, my old pal Rob of Witch Kitty, a tremendously talented musician and a humanitarian. He runs a couple of very, very highly regarded veterans charities that he's been doing for about 20 years now. He's also an active musician and a producer and a songwriter. He's got some stripes on him. He's a pro. Thank you so much, executive producer of today's show, Rob. Thank you, Jameson. Hi, Jameson. Appreciate that. That's nice. If you guys want to support the show, we sure would appreciate. Drop a little something. Maybe you can be the executive producer of Monday's show. All right. Let's see. How do we get this started? Why is this not started right? Oh, because I'm on the wrong page. Hold on. We'll get it started. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the High Noon Rant. I am Pugs Moran. It is the 19th day of April. Going to be a lot of this today. I'm a little bit wiggy. The 19th day of April, year of our Lord 2024. It's the 109th day of the year. That means there are 256 more of these remaining until the end of the year. Who's on my screen? What am I watching? Oh, CNN. Okay. I thought I was on Black Boobs, some porn channel. There was some very busty ebony beauty on TV for a second. Kind of struck me because I thought it was on CNN. And it was. All right, let's get into quarter one. Antecedently on this day, these are all the events that have helped shape our understanding of this particular day, April the 19th, throughout history. Antecedently on this day in the American Revolution, the war begins with an American victory in Concord during the battles of Lexington and Concord. You take that! Bend the knee, never we shall! Lexington and Concord. Didn't we learn, isn't there a Civil War battle in Lexington too? Or maybe that is the Civil War battle in Lexington, Kentucky. And then is there a different Lexington in Massachusetts or something? I'm guessing. Maybe. Who knows? Moving on. Antecedently, on this day in 1927, Mae West is sentenced to 10 days in jail for obscenity for her play Sex. 1927, Mae West put on a play called Sex. And they put her in jail for it. She was like the first. Mae West was like the first of those, sexy ladies, provocatively sex. She owned her sexuality in a way that wouldn't be copied with any success, at least commercially, for probably 60 years. She went out on a limb. She was like, I'm a woman and I love sex. Mae West. That's the other thing about Mae West. She was a sex symbol. I don't think she was hot. Now, granted, I don't know what people considered hot back then, but if it was Mae West, then I'm out. Antecedently on this day in 1956, actress Grace Kelly marries Prince Rainier of Monaco. I'm sure you've heard your grandparents talk about this. This is a big story in their generation. Princess Grace Kelly. She was like an actress. She was like a great actress. And then she married. She was like the biggest box office star of the age. And then some prince from some made-up country, Monaco. That's not real. That's like a fairy tale place. Anyway, Hollywood actress marries a European priest, or king, whatever he was. And now, why did she become princess? How come wasn't he King Rainier? I don't know what he was. I have no idea. They're not the British royal family. But there was a period of time in the 70s and the 80s when the royal family of Monaco, which is what Princess Grace or Grace Kelly, the American actress, married into. There was a time when they were every bit as gossip worthy as the royal family. As a matter of fact, more so. Like the royal family in the 80s, they had Charles and Di, and certainly that was a big story, but they weren't like daily fodder the way, do you remember Prince Albert and Princess Caroline and Princess Stephanie? They were everywhere. They were like real royalty. I don't know if that family's even royal anymore. I guess they are, but that's not they're not even a thing, right? The Grimaldis, that's their name. Did you know it? That's the family name over there. Grimaldi, the monastic name of the Crown Prince of Monaco. Monaco or Morocco? No idea. Moving on. Antecedently on this day in 1971, Charles Manson is sentenced to death for conspiracy in the Tate LaBianco murders. It's always been an interest. It was commuted. It was later commuted to life in prison. And one of the reasons was, it's kind of, he was turned into a boogeyman, but, by the letter of the law, he didn't murder anybody. He, Tex and I don't know who the other ones were. Krenwinkel, maybe. But I don't know who they were. I know Tex Winter. No, Tex Winter was the basketball coach. Tex Watkins. I think maybe that was him. I don't know. They did it. They did the murders of Sharon Tate and Abigail Folger and the Lobiancos. Wasn't really Charles Manson. He was just the guy who said, hey, you know what you ought to do? You ought to go kill somebody. And they gave him death for that. And it was commuted to life in prison because, let's be honest, he probably should have been in a crazy asylum instead of prison, but, whatever. It worked out fine. He's dead now. Rotten hell weirdo. Charles Manson convicted on this day in 1971. On this day in 1987, The Simpsons first appear as a series of shorts on the Tracy Ullman Show. I remember that. I remember the first time I saw The Simpsons. It was on the Tracy Ullman Show. I used to kind of like the Tracy Ullman Show. I don't know if it holds up. Go back and a lot of the cast members, the Tracy Ullman Show was kind of like a sketch comedy show, except Tracy Ullman was the star. It was more like Carol Burnett than Saturday Night Live, but a lot of the people on the Tracy Ullman Show would go on to be The Simpsons. Marge, she was, and Julie Kavner is her name. She was a regular on the Tracy Ullman Show. Homer, Dan Castellaneta, was a regular on the Tracy Ullman Show. So I knew what they looked like before they were actually, Homer and Marge Simpson. On this day, 1987, The Simpsons make their Fox television debut as a feature on the Tracy Ullman Show. Antecedently on this day in 1993, the 51-day FBI siege of the Branch Davidian compound in Waco, Texas ends when a fire breaks out. 76 Davidians, including 18 children under the age of 10, died in the fire. I remember watching that. What year is this? 1993. Okay, so I was producing a morning show in Chicago, and then after the morning show, I would run to a pizza place and I would deliver pizzas in the afternoon. Then I think it was bartending at the same time. Oh, it was crazy. That's why I ran myself into the hospital. I told that story about how I developed some virus because my body was just like, you can't do this. You can't have this much stress. I know you're only 23. Sitting in the bar of the pizza place. It was a slow day. And it was just another day of coverage of the Branch Davidian thing. And I'm sitting there watching it. And you start to see a fire. And they're really talking about it. And I'm like, oh, they must not be talking about the fire because apparently that's supposed to. And then the place gets engulfed in flames. And only then is it that the CNN or whatever it was that I was watching, those people started to comment on it. I mean, we watched that thing burn to the ground on live TV, knowing full well that everybody was in there. And I think, I don't want to speak for all of us, but I got the sense that there was this collective confusion among all of us that were watching it, where we knew on some level that there were people in there. And if the building is that much on fire, those people must be dead. But I don't know that we connected it in the moment. I think that we were just stunned. We're like, well, that's probably supposed to happen. They must have gotten them out. They're probably all in the back. And that was weird. We just watched all of those people burn alive on television. Awful, awful. On this day in 1993, the 51-day Branch Davidian standoff ends with a fire, killing a whole bunch of people. On this day, antecedently in 1995, I remember this, the Oklahoma City bombing occurred. The Alfred P. Murrow Federal Building in Oklahoma City, USA is bombed, killing 168 people, including 19 children under the age of 6. I remember when this one happened too. I was producing that very same morning show. No, actually, at this point, we were the midday show. We had moved to middays. Kevin Matthews moved back to middays. He did mornings for 2 years, and then we moved to middays because Jonathan Brandmeier decided he wanted mornings back. A very Jay Leno, Conan O'Brien kind of situation that occurred at that radio station, but that story's yet to be told. So we're doing middays, and I remember Kathy Voltmer, who was our newswoman. She came running into me as the producer, and she said, "Hey, I think we might have to interrupt this." There was some kind of interview going on. And by the way, it was the worst possible interview for this breaking news. She goes, "I think we're going to have to interrupt this." And I'm like, "Why? What happened?" And she said, well, there's just been an explosion at a building in Oklahoma City. And I'm like, so what? The explosion, like I didn't grasp the magnitude of what it was. And she said to me, no, she said, no, this is really big. She was news director. And she's like, as news director, I'm telling you, we have to interrupt. We have to do this story. And I'm like, okay. So I walk into the studio and I'm standing there and I'm trying to quietly write a note to Kevin, that the host, that we have this thing. And of course he got distracted and he's like, what are you doing? What are you writing? What is going on? And then I got on a mic and I'm like, well, I go, we have some breaking news. Something big is happening. And he's like, oh, hold on. He's like, and he's in the middle of the interview with this person, the worst possible person to have on the air at this moment. And he throws it to Kathy in the newsroom. And Kathy's like, Kev, news coming out of Oklahoma City. There has been an explosion of significant size at the Murrow Federal. And right there, when she said Murrow Federal Building, everybody, I didn't realize Federal Building. I said, oh boy, okay, this could be something now. And my host, Kevin, turns it back to the guy that was the guest in this moment. Who was the guest? The worst possible guest in this moment? Ladies and gentlemen, we just happened to have been interviewing Ted Nugent. Ted Nugent said some things in the immediate moments following the Murrow building disaster, tragedy, terror attack. He said things like he was the first to go, well, I could see why a lot of people would want to blow up the Federal building. He said some of the most shocking things, just conversationally, before he had any information. He was just talking about, well, we're going to see more of this. And, here in Michigan, he started talking about Michigan militias and all this kind of stuff. It's crazy. We quickly got rid of him. We were like, okay, whatever. And we turned it over and there was regular news and it became like, a real big story, as we all recall. The next morning, Ted Nugent was banned forever from the radio station. It made headlines all over. And we didn't know it was just happening live. And we're like, Ted, what do you think of that? No, that was a mistake. Ted was pretty comfortable, being anti-American back in a time when that was still shocking to a lot of us. It's not so shocking anymore. We see it pretty regularly. But back then, I was on this day in 1995, the Oklahoma City bombing. Timothy McVeigh, by the way, the convicted bomber in Oklahoma City, he was at the Branch Davidian compound. Now, he wasn't a member of the Branch Davidians, but he had driven down there and he was there watching when the place burned to the ground. And that was one of his, anti-government things. One of his moments in his life that turned him so radical was on this day in 1983, watching the Branch Davidian compound burn. And then on this day in 1995, I don't know that it was ever confirmed that it was because it happened on the same day, but on this day in 1995, he would then blow up the Oklahoma City building, the Oklahoma City Alfred P. Murrow Federal Building. On this day in 2013, here's another one. The Boston Marathon bombing suspect, Tamerlan Tsarnaev, is killed in a shootout with police. His brother, Dzhokhar, is later captured hiding in a boat inside a backyard in the suburb of Watertown. Do you remember this? Do you remember this night? I remember this night. It was in one of the early days of Twitter, or instant viral. They had killed an MIT, the Tsarnaev brothers, who were the people who perpetrated the Boston Marathon bombing. The Tsarnaev brothers had killed an MIT police officer. There was a dragnet. Everybody was looking for him. And they ran into a MIT police officer on the campus of MIT out in front of a 7-Eleven, and they executed him. Now that set off all the bells ringing. Oh, a cop has been killed, and we think it's the Tsarnaev brothers. That caused car chases, and it ended up in Watertown, which is an area just outside Boston. And there was a shootout, and there were bombs being thrown. The Tsarnaev brothers had a bunch of those pressure cooker bombs, and they were throwing them at cops. And this all played out on people's cell phones in the neighborhood that were instantly being uploaded on Twitter. And I'm watching these things, and I'm like, oh my God. As a matter of fact, there are some videos on YouTube, the Watertown shootout. It's probably easier to search that than the Tsarnaev brothers. But if you get a chance to watch it in real time, you can hear the police calls, and then you hear the 911 calls of people who live in the neighborhood who's like, there's a guy on my yard and he's throwing bombs. Crazy night of breaking news. That was on this day in 2013, the Boston Marathon bombing suspect, Tamerlan Tsarnaev. He was the big one. Remember Dzhokhar? He was the one that, sort of the handsome one. They tried to turn him into remember Rolling Stone did that cover of him? It looked like an album cover of some new boy bander. That was Dzhokhar. Tamerlan was the big one, the older brother. He was big. He was the MMA fighter. Tamerlan got run over by Dzhokhar. Dzhokhar was trying to get the hell out of Watertown, and Tamerlan got in the way. He had been shot. He fell down in the road, and Dzhokhar just ran his own brother over. And then the next day, we found Dzhokhar hiding in the back of a boat. Very, very crazy story. All right, that's going to do it. That's antecedently on this day, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move now into birthdays. They claim it's their birthday. Born on this day in 1903, Elliot Ness. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know anything about Elliot Ness. The Untouchables. Kevin Costner played him in the movie. It was a cool movie. Elliot Ness, born on this day in 1903. Good for him. Born on this day in 1933. How about Jane Mansfield? Jane Mansfield is the mother of Mariska Hargitay of, I don't know, what's she in, Law and Order, SVU or something like that. Mariska Hargitay, I've told this story before, right? Jane Mansfield died in a car accident when her convertible slid underneath a truck and cut her head off. Great Hollywood fable is that the head landed in the lap of her daughter, who was in the back seat. Her daughter, of course, Mariska Hargitay. What an awful, oh God. She was in the car accident with her mom, then her mom's head got cut off. Born on this day in 1933, Jane Mansfield. She was hot. She was like a poor man. She was like the Pepsi to Marilyn Monroe's Coke. You know, Marilyn Monroe was like the brand name. And then you had Jane Mansfield, who was like just as hot. As a matter of fact, I will argue, and I've said this before, Jane Mansfield was hotter than Marilyn Monroe. I don't think Marilyn Monroe is as hot as people tend to say she was. She was an attractive woman, sure. But she was like a Cleveland 8. Marilyn Monroe, come on. She'd be an Uptown 6 here in Dallas. Jane Mansfield was hot. Jane Mansfield, prettier face, crazier body. She was great. All right, moving on. Born on this day in 1952. How about Simon Cowell? Screw that guy. I hate that guy, Simon Cowell. Born on this day in 1965. Suge Knight. Screw that guy. I hate that guy. I don't know anything about Suge Knight. Yeah, well, I mean, I know basically what everybody. I know about Suge Knight what every middle-aged white man should know about Suge Knight. He's a gay. He's a bad guy. That's it. That's pretty much all we know. Hip hop mogul. We'll just leave it at that. Born on this day in 1968, Ashley Judd. Woo. Woo. Ashley Judd played Marilyn Monroe in an HBO movie. Ashley Judd is far more beautiful than Marilyn Monroe. Sorry, that's just true. Ashley Judd is beautiful. Marilyn Monroe, mid. All right. Born on this day in 68. Ashley Judd. Born on this day in 1978. How about James Franco? Did we cancel him? What's his deal? Didn't he get in trouble for sexing up a bunch of his acting students? James Franco had a side hustle doing acting classes, teaching people acting classes, but Jeer, the dog, just made one of her tummy things. Your tummy still hot? James Franco had acting classes, and apparently he would only let hot girls in his acting class, and he tried to bang them all. And, that in 2022, that could cause some problems for him. I haven't really seen a whole lot of James Franco since then. I'm sure he'll work his way back into the mainstream. A mega talent like that, he ain't. James Franco's fine. He's handsome. There's a degree of charm to him, right? He's super smart. Like he plays dumb guys, but in real life, he's super smart. He's got that Ashton Kutcher thing going where Ashton Kutcher's super smart, but he plays dumb guys. But I don't know. I don't think the world needs James Franco back. He can stay where he is. He's fine. We got enough of them pretty boys. Seth Rogen is the real magic in the James Franco-Seth Rogen combination. So as long as we keep him working, I think we'll be fine. Born on this day in 1979. How about Kate Hudson? She's Goldie Hawn's daughter. I don't know if I got any other takes on Kate Hudson. Kate Hudson, she broke onto the scene in Cameron Crowe's Almost Famous. That was like her first role, really. I know she'd done other things, but that was like where, look who's a star now, Goldie Hawn's daughter. She was really something. I thought she was something when she first burst on the scene. And then she kind of fizzled, right? Like she didn't, like right now, I would say Goldie Hawn, her mother, is a much bigger star than Kate Hudson ever was. Anyway, moving on. Born on this day in 1981. Happy birthday to a guy who had like one movie, right? And I remember when he was in this movie, everybody's like, he's the next great star of Hollywood. And then we haven't seen him in anything since. Whatever happened to Hayden Christensen? Remember Hayden Christensen? Didn't he play Darth Vader? Who was he? He was in the Star Wars. He was somebody. He was the star of like 3 of the Star Wars movies. He was the star of the ones that had Natalie Portman in them. I don't remember what those were. I think they were the middle 3. Hayden Christensen, what happened? Could he not act? I don't know. He didn't do anything. I haven't seen him in anything in years. In fact, I just recently saw an interview with Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor, and they were talking about being on the set of Star Wars and, you know, what Star Wars means to them and all that kind of stuff. There's some Star Wars-centric interview panel. And it was those two. I didn't even recognize Hayden Christensen. I ain't seen him in 20 years, and I'm like, oh, all right, he's 50 now, and that's what he looks like. Cool. All right, that's going to do it. Those are our birthdays. Those are the people who claim to have been born on this day. We don't know. Let's move into the dead. Quick list of people who have died on this day. We're going to open up their life's resume and decide whether or not we think they went to heaven or hell. Are you ready? Let's do it. Dead on this day in 1982. Whoop. Dead on this day in 1882. Ladies and gentlemen, Charles Darwin. Shut up. He's going to heaven. Charles Darwin's going to heaven. You weird religious people. My God. Guy's great mind. He's a great mind of our time. Charles Darwin. He's going to heaven. I know. He's the devil. He tried to say that we comes from the monkeys. He didn't say that. He had quite clearly right there. There was a missing link that he cannot. He's got a theory, but there's one little thing missing. It's like the most important. Bigfoot, let's be honest, the thing that's missing is Bigfoot. That's why we're all so fascinated with Bigfoot, because the missing link does Bigfoot kind of fits the criteria of everything we're looking for in the missing link between simian, primate, whatever that is, and the human, the modern upright walking human that we have today. All right, there you go, Charles Darwin. I'm putting him in heaven. Dead on this day in 1993. Let's preemptively go ahead and put David Koresh in hell. That's right. When the whole Branch Davidian thing went down, of course, it took out their ringleader, David Koresh. He died on this day in 1993. False prophets go to hell. Sorry, Davey. Dead on this day in 2012. Levon Helm, American musician and actor, great man of rock and roll, played in the band. Drummer who sang, Levon Helm. I'm putting him in heaven. I love the band. The night they drove old Dixie down. The band was great. You ever seen The Last Waltz? That's the Martin Scorsese concert documentary of the band's final show. That is such a great music documentary. If you love music documentaries, see The Last Waltz. It's probably, if you just Google, it'll probably come up. Considered the greatest music documentary ever. A lot of that has to do with Scorsese being involved. And it was Scorsese in his prime, too. It was like 30-year-old Scorsese going, I'm cool. Levon Helm. We're putting him in heaven. There you go. Whoop on Cripple Creek. Boom, 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 boom. Virgil Kane is my name, and I worked on the Danville train. The band was awesome. Dead on this day in 2021. He's going to hell preemptively because he's a politician. Say goodbye, folks. Walter Mondale. Nobody in the history of presidential politics have lost a presidential election to the degree and with the spectacle that Walter Mondale got bent over by Ronald Reagan. Oh, my God. It wasn't even close. Yikes. He's going to hell, Walter Mondale, because he's a politician. Dead on this day in 2021. Jim Steinman. You know who Jim Steinman is? Jim Steinman's an incredibly successful songwriter. Broadway stuff mostly, but I think he's most famous for his collaborations with Meatloaf. Yeah, Jim Steinman wrote all of those huge, over-the-top Meatloaf Bat Out of Hell songs. Paradise by the Dashboard Lights, Bat Out of Hell Part 2, 2 out of 3. I would do anything. Long story short, he's going to hell. Oh my God, that stuff was awful. You know what's not awful, though? And Jim Steinman did write one song with Meatloaf that I thought was really great, and that's that 2 out of 3 Ain't Bad song. That is a good song. I want you, but there ain't no way I'm ever. Thank you. 2 out of 3. He's going to hell, though, because that other Meatloaf stuff, I just can't with that. That's a little bit too much. That's going to do it, folks. First 3 quarters are in the books. How about us? Look at us. One more time, a big thank you to today's executive producer. His name is Rob Barr. Plays in a little band called Witch Kitty. Of course, I know him from the days of Wally. Rob's been a friend of mine for 30-something years at this point, and he was the big tipper yesterday. If you want to be the executive producer of an upcoming show, all you got to do is be the big tipper today, and we'll get you in there. Thank you so much, Rob. That really helps. It really helped this week. Let's do the topics. Here we go. Quarter 4. Let's get started, guys. We are running very quickly. We may not get it full 2 hours, and I'm so sorry. And I hope you just cut me some slack. But I got to try and sleep for 2 hours. I got at some point. I got to pick my kid up. Here's the latest I can pick my kid up. I can pick my kid up at like 7:30. That's the latest. Otherwise, and it's not like it's the latest, like his mom's got a rule. That's not the case at all. I'm totally cool with that. It's his rule. He's like, I don't want to be getting there and getting settled in at 9:00, and then I got to do my homework. My kid is so weird. My kid does his weekend homework on Friday night. He gets it out of the way. He's like, that's his thing. He'll come, he'll do his homework first. He's like, nerd. You little nerd. What's going on? Anyway, it's admirable. It's still a little bit of a nerd move, right? I'm like the bad influence. I'm like, why don't you put them books down and come play PlayStation with me? You know, it's like, why don't you put those books down and come watch a documentary on the Rolling Stones with me? But no, he likes to do his homework first thing Friday, get it out of the way, which is, good. He's a straight A student. I'm very proud of him. AP, everything. But that's nerd stuff. He got that from his mom. More stuff that's probably going to play out well for him in life that he got from his mom, doing his homework first. So I got told about 7:30. So maybe if I can just like take a nap between like 4 and like 6, right? Then I can get, or maybe even like 5 and I don't know. We'll see. Oh, get this too. Oh my God. So my kid plays football, and he's all about football, and he's a big football meathead. And if I'm being completely objective and honest, he's pretty good at what he's doing. He's an offensive center, and he's very good at that position. And he's been awarded with all kinds of accolades and all of this stuff. He's one of the best young offensive line. I'm his dad, so please excuse me. I'm very proud of him because again, he doesn't get this from me. He gets this from his mom. Sends me a text yesterday. Now, you all know that I've been talking about he and I, how we have been drilling nonstop on his shotguns because they run a lot of shotguns. And one of the worst things when you go to watch a high school football game is when they move to, a predominantly shotgun-based offense. The shotgun is where the ball is hiked a distance. It's not the quarterback isn't right under you in your butt. It's where they step back. And I know you all know what a shotgun is, but I just feel like I need to over-explain it. So for the last couple of months, we've been working really hard on long snapping. He wants to be a deadly long snapper because he has come to the realization that if it's between him and somebody else to get, either a starting position or to get bumped up to varsity or, fingers crossed, some kind of scholarship money later in life, it would serve him well to have all of these different skills. Like it comes down to him and another center, and then they say, yeah, but this one can also long snap, right? So it's pretty smart. He's thinking. And I blistered my hands. You remember, you saw my hands. I took thousands and thousands of these long snaps from him, and he is now drilling them like bullets. Just bam, bam, bam. Yesterday, I get this text. Jesus, man. Yesterday, and I don't know. I mean, I was very encouraging to him. So I get this text yesterday. Hey, I think I might move to guard as my primary position this season. I'm like, all right, we've been working so hard at center, and now you're telling me you're going to move to guard. So I talked to him about it, and as it turns out, it's actually a good thing, and it's another one of these situations where, he's now able. He used to play in 8th grade. He played tackle, and then he got moved to center his freshman year, and now he's being moved to guard. The fact that he's still going to start at all of these positions, that's a good thing, and that he can play all those positions on the line, that's a good thing. I told him about our old friend Tyson Walter, who was Kelly, my partner's boyfriend for a period of time, played for the Cowboys and then the Packers. Well, Tyson had a long career, 7 years or something in the NFL, never as a starter, but he could play every position on the line. He would play tackle. He was second string center. He was second string guard. Having all these skills is good. And then apparently they tell my kid, I'm like, I go, what's going on? Why are you thinking of moving to guard? And he said, well, here's the problem. They don't have any good guards. The other center, because it's two centers, there's he played for one school and another center plays for the other school. And these two schools get merged in sophomore year. There are two freshman teams and they get merged. And they're like, well, the other center is serviceable. I'm better than him. He made a point to say that. He's like, I'm better than him because the other center is serviceable, but our guards are trash. And the coach is like, maybe you want to play guard? And I'm like, are we still long snapping? He's like, yeah, no, totally. We're still long snapping. I'm like, okay, very good. So that was kind of a shock to me. A dad shock. Got blindsided with that. All right. Amy says, are you seeing this craziness outside the Manhattan courthouse? Well, it seems to me that I've got CNN on, right? Hold on. Is this not what CNN? Am I on the wrong CNN? This happens. Hold on. April, who is our, she's always a producer of the show, but she is from time to time the executive producer. She's telling me that I need to be alerted to something that's happening in Manhattan. Come on. Let's go. Load up. I realized I wasn't watching live CNN. I was watching something on from a different CNN. Fire breaks out near courthouse where Trump's trial is underway.
Disturbing nature, this cannot be overstated. A man appeared to engage in a kind of self-immolation, although we are unclear as to the nature of the incendiary device or otherwise that prompted this fire. But this, as we are obviously in the presence about 100 yards away.
Byron, why CNN? Jesus, man. Would you rather Fox or MSNBC? I'm splitting the difference, brother. That's what I'm doing. I am splitting the difference. Yeah, we all have problems with CNN. I echo your sentiment here, but All right.
In chaos to unleash here. And Evan, we are in a place where people expected, because a former president was in this building, that there was a heightened law enforcement presence. Mayor Adams had come earlier in the week to check on.
So what'd somebody do? Light themselves on fire? Hold on, let me pull this up now. Let me see what's happening here. Did he light himself on fire for Trump? Because that would track. That seems like something one of his people might do. Or did he light himself on fire because of Trump? Which also seems like something the people who just absolutely, he's the devil, would do. Fire, let's see. Fire at Manhattan Courthouse. Let's see what that returns. All right, here we go. This is 5 minutes ago. Man lights himself on fire outside courthouse during Trump trial. A man appeared to light himself on fire outside a New York City courthouse on Friday, where a jury was being chosen for the criminal trial of former President Donald Trump. The incident happened as reporters were gathered outside of the courthouse to cover Trump's trial, CNN reported. On-air reporter Laura Coates said it appeared that a man had set himself on fire. Well, did he say anything? We got any video of it? Let's see here. Oh my God, we've got video of it. Oh my God. Okay, sight unseen. Let's see what this is, folks. I reserve the right to bail out of this nonsense at any moment. I don't like nasty stuff. All right, here we go. Oh, boy, let's see what this is all about.
What do you say? We also are seeing an active shooter. An active shooter is in the park outside the court. We have a man who he has set fire to himself. A man has emblazoned himself outside of the courthouse just now. Our cameras are turning right now. A man has now lit himself on fire outside of the courthouse in Manhattan, where we are waiting.
I don't know what I'm looking at.
A full jury panel is gone. We are watching a man who is fully emblazoned in the front of the courthouse today. We are watching multiple fires breaking out around his body and person. We have seen an arm that has been visible, that has been engulfed in total flames. There is chaos that is happening. People are wondering right now if people are in danger. I'm looking across the courtyard. There is a man racing to his aid. There is coats coming off to try to put out the fire. We have members of security details. NYPD is rushing to the scene. They are trying to come now. Officers are on the scene. A fire extinguisher is right now present, being put on this man to try to put out. People are climbing over barricades to try to separate the public, to put out the flame on this man. He has lit himself out in fire in front of the courthouse right now. We are watching as they're playing. We can smell the air. I can smell the burning of some sort of a flesh. I can smell the burning of some sort of agent being used as well.
What? What? First of all, can we just look? That's some apex level play-by-play right there. Wow. Laura Coates is dialed in. That is on the scene journalism. That was pretty incredible. Scoff if you want. She kept it together enough to completely understand that her job was to relay what she was seeing. That's pretty impressive from a person who isn't necessarily a journalist or a broadcaster first. She's an attorney.
As an accelerant to put that fire, I smell an actual fire extinguisher having been displayed. I see a person whose body appears to be on the ground, being surrounded by officers. I have multiple officers. I've counted about a dozen officers on the scene. The fire is still burning. It's now in multiple locations. It continues to blaze. We right now have officers removing their coats, trying to surround.
What kind of horror has occurred in Jeff Ballard's life that he is this cynical? You don't think seeing that unfold in front of you would elicit that kind of feverish emotional response? I think that is completely normal. That is, my God, go back and listen to the Hindenburg tape. Oh, my humanity. That guy couldn't hold it together. She's holding it together, man. Now, I don't know if this is, in the grand scheme of things, a massive news story, but when it's happening live in front of you, you've got to cover it like it is. I think she's doing a great job. I think that there's, that's pretty incredible for her to hold it together. I don't know that I could do that. I think at some point I wouldn't be able to tell you about the smell of burning flesh permeating the air. I'd have just started gagging. I'd have been like, oh, it's so gross. Oh, I can't do this. Not her, man. That chick just whomp and she dialed in. That was crazy. Fake? Don't look at the fake drama. What? Fake? She's watching somebody burn alive. You think that she's mustering that? She's freaking out. She's totally freaking out, as anybody would if that were to just happen in front of you. Yeah, that's news. That is news. That is news because it's because the Trump trial is news, and now we all want to know what this guy's deal was, right? What's behind all of this? I don't know. I don't really know who Laura Coates is, other than from, just seeing her as a guest on news shows over the years. But man, I'm impressed by that. I really am. Jeff You cynical weenie. My God. Holy shit. So I don't know what the hell else is going on there, but let's just move on. I don't know. They seem to have moved on from it. Okay, the big news last night, it kept me up all night. Israel finally responded. Finally, I say it's been like, 5 days or so. Israel responded to Saturday night's aerial bombardment by Iran. Israel took out some targets inside Iran, as promised after Saturday night's. I don't know. It's like, okay, so Israel did it first. Israel blows up the consulate, kills a bunch of Iranian generals. Iran says, we will respond. Iran responds on Saturday night. A combination of, Western forces and also Arab countries and Israel. They were able to knock down like 99% of the assault that was lobbed inside Israel from Iran. So, okay, so tit for tat. There you go. It's over. Nah, Israel has to respond. They have to have the last word. And so we were waiting, and that happened. Now what are we doing? Now we're waiting for Iran? Is Iran going to respond? It was pretty scary, man. It was, this whole thing is scary. Not necessarily. I mean, look, we're in Dallas, or at least I'm in Dallas. Some of you are in some other places. I don't know how this necessarily is going to impact us directly within the next 48 hours or so, but watching this just precarious situation that the entire Middle East is in right now, and not just the Middle East. Like I say, this is a 3-front war occurring right now. We haven't had any real action there in the South China Sea, but that thing is a tinderbox that is about to go off between Taiwan and Japan and America and Korea and Australia. Everybody's getting involved down there. Everybody's drawn their battle lines. That's the one that hasn't popped off yet, but we're watching for it. You got the Ukraine situation with Russia, and now you got the Middle East. You had Israel and Gaza. Now you got Israel, Gaza, and Israel, Iran. Now you got Israel, Gaza, Israel, Iran, Israel, Palestine. Man, I'm telling you. That's how world wars start. You get all these different fronts popping off. People start drawing up allegiances and alliances, and before you know it, we're bringing back the draft. Another Trump news story. It looks like we've got a jury. Remember yesterday how angry I was? I was angry because the news media had gotten 2 people. They had outed basically 2 people. 2 people had been sat on the Trump jury. They'd outed 2 of them, and so they were like, "We can't do this anymore because people know who we are, and we don't want to get, we don't want to get killed." Which is reasonable in this day and age. It's a very reasonable. We got a guy lighting himself on fire. You don't think a juror in the Trump trial has a right to be concerned for their safety after they've been outed by the media who was trying to play cutesy with, here's what we know. We found this Facebook page. We've blurred their picture, all kinds of nonsense. The media did it. The media ruined it. The media screwed up some of the jurors. And yesterday on the show, if you remember, I was angry. Because I'm like, let's go, man. This case was moving along at a nice clip. There was hope on Tuesday or Wednesday, I believe it was, that we could start the trial, the actual trial, on Monday of next week. And then we had that hiccup yesterday, and I'm like, this is going to set it back a week. Not true. Not true. They have impaneled the jury. The jury is up and ready to go, and it now looks like we are going to start this trial in earnest. The hush money trial, as it's being called, in a New York, Manhattan courtroom. Looks like it's going to start on Monday. So there you go. We'll get this over with, and we can all move on. Yeah, right. I don't care how this court case gets settled. Ain't nobody moving on. Somebody's going to be upset, and it's going to be nuts. Taylor Swift is trending today. It's Taylor Swift Day. If you've got anybody in your life who is in that Taylor Swift demographic, which I think includes everyone but me, me and people like me. And I'm not a Taylor Swift hater. I'm not a hater in general. I'm just unfamiliar. I've just never gravitated towards her. Like I said, shake it up, shake it out, shake whatever that is. That's the only song I know. And that song's a banger. That's a good song. That's it. That's all I know from her. Anyway, Taylor Swift has dropped a new double album, 31 songs. I don't know, Crybaby Club or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it's called. Just the Taylor Swift album. I'll hear about that somewhere else. 31 songs, a double album. This chick is so prolific. She really is. She is just, I mean, that's Taylor Swift sucks. Okay, whatever you think of her sucking, do you give her any credit at all for being somebody who can write so many songs? Go, dude, you guy who's saying that Taylor Swift doesn't have talent and sucks. Go in your bedroom, and I'll tell you what, I'll give you a couple of months. Go in your bedroom for a couple of months, and I want you to come up with 31 bangers, a number of which are going to be classics because it's Taylor Swift. And at this point, there's a song we haven't heard yet from this album that is going to be a classic that we're going to recognize 20 years from now. She's talented. She's crazy talented. Had an interesting conversation on the Freak Morning Show today about Taylor Swift, and I was sort of drawing this comparison between Beyonce. It's like Taylor Swift or Beyonce. Every era of popular music has had these. Are you a Beatles fan or a Rolling Stones fan? Are you a Tommy Dorsey fan or a Glenn Miller fan? Are you a Nirvana fan or are you a Pearl Jam fan? Are you an Oasis fan or are you a Blur fan? You know, there's just always been these things. And I think it's kind of that way now with Taylor Swift and Beyonce. I think we decided on the show today that I think Beyonce is better. I think she's cooler. I think that there's more of a mystique about Beyonce. But I think that Taylor is more commercially viable. I think she's more successful. I think they're both super successful. Don't get me wrong. I just think that Taylor is more welcome to Disney, and Beyonce is got a bit more of an edge to her. I think, but Beyonce's scary. Like Taylor Swift does not seem like she would be scary. Like you could if you accidentally insulted Taylor Swift. Like accidentally, like you didn't mean, you said it came out the wrong way. I think the Taylor Swift would be like, oh, it's okay. That's okay. Whereas I think Beyonce would give you a look. I think she's got an edge. I think she's tough. Anyway, there you go. That's my Taylor Swift take. I'm all out of Taylor Swift takes. Got a big album. It's Taylor Swift Day. It dropped today. Everybody's talking about it. See the story about a fart team? Did you see this? So there's this, they do it on purpose. I don't understand this. So the Republicans in the House, they have created an organization. House conservatives have a special group dedicated to preserving their power. So they've formed a group, and the purpose of the group is to preserve their power. It is the House Freedom Caucus. And they have formed a group called the Floor Action Response Team. The Floor Action Response Team. The Fart Team. That's right. Fart. I don't know if they did it knowingly, but yeah. So they had to file official paperwork about their new little congressional caucus. The Fart Team. The Floor Action Response Team, ladies and gentlemen. It says the far-right House Freedom Caucus has formed a crack team of conservative lawmakers, a crack team, to monitor the House floor, lest Speaker Mike Johnson or other Republicans try to limit their power. Okay, there you go. Long live the Congressional Fart Team. How exciting is that? Here's another good story. We like to do great moments in the wealthy screwing over the little guy. Here's just another indication of how we can't trust the wealthy. Warner Brothers, I don't even know if it's Warner Brothers anymore. I think it's Time Warner CEO or whatever. Time Warner Discovery. I don't know, whatever Warner is now. So Warner Brothers, they lost a crap ton of money last year. It's bad time. Oh my God. They lost all the shareholders. They watched their stock go down, all that. Yeah. Terrible year. Worst year on record for Warner. Yeah. We can't take many more of these. Their CEO was given a $49.7 million bonus. Yes. They lost money. But their CEO was still bonused $50 million for running the company into the ground. There you go. Another story there. Feel good, middle class? Oh, yeah. It's all a game. And they're just running it until somebody calls them on it. Ozempic face. Have you ever heard of this? This is a thing. This is a thing that they are dealing with in Hollywood, of all places. It's called Ozempic face. You know anybody who's on Ozempic? Apparently, there is a look that facial features of those who take Ozempic for a period of time begin to, they begin to resemble. So it's a gaunt, sunken, grayish face, and it's called Ozempic face. Well, this is a problem in Hollywood. Here, I'll tell you why. Hollywood's Ozempic face crisis. Plastic surgeons reveal the celebs suffering from gauntness because of weight loss drugs. Experts say rise in weight loss drugs popularity is also causing what is now being known as Ozempic face. Smooth, plump cheeks, wrinkle-free foreheads. These are the features we've become accustomed to among celebrities obsessed with Botox and filler. But a new look is emerging in Hollywood: sunken eyes, gaunt cheeks, and saggy skin. Hey, we used to call them junkies. That used to just be Hollywood junkies. But now they're calling it Ozempic face. Experts say that this is due to the rise in popularity of the weight loss drugs. The side effects have been called Ozempic face. Famous Lothario Scott Disick, isn't he one of the Kardashian dudes? Isn't Scott Disick, didn't he knock up a Kardashian and now he's like got Kardashian kids? Something like that. Famous Lothario Scott Disick scared fans last month with his dramatic new look, but a number of other celebs appear to be suffering from the same issue. Okay, let's show you this picture. Here we go. Yeah, wow, look at that. Hold on. I mean, I'm looking at the Scott Disick guy. He looks like a zombie. He does not look good. He looks thin, but he doesn't look great. All right, here we go. Let's pull this picture up. Let you see what they're talking about with Ozempic face. All right, here we go. Scott Disick. He is Courtney. He was down with Courtney, I guess. All right, here we go. I'll show you this picture. Boom, there he is. That's him on the left before Ozempic when he was a little bit of a porker. I got to tell you, I should be so lucky as to be that level of a porker. He looks great. And then that's him on the right now after being on Ozempic for a while. Look at the sunken eyes. That's apparently what they're saying. It's almost like, it looks like somebody who's been starved, like somebody who's on a hunger strike or something like that. I don't know. Oh, who is this? Jessica Simpson? Okay, they're saying Jessica Simpson also has Ozempic face. Let's look at her. Let's look at Jessica Simpson. Oh my God. Ugh, really? You gonna put a pop-up on me? How dare you? Look at her on the right. Oh my God. Jessica Simpson looks like she's gone full-blown Baby Jane. I used to be famous. Oh my God. She looks awful. Jessica Simpson looks awful. Oh my God. All right, let's see. This is Ozempic face. It's becoming a problem in Hollywood. They don't know how to fix it. All right, so this is Sharon Osbourne. She looks fine. She doesn't look bad. Sharon Osbourne doesn't look bad. They're like, but look at how much better she looks on the left. That was 20 years ago. That's not fair. You can't show somebody 20 years ago and then show them today and go, Ozempic face. Sharon Osbourne looks okay. She doesn't look bad. Are there any other ones? Oh, John Goodman. John Goodman's a good example. But John Goodman, I don't know that he has sunken or do you watch The Righteous Gemstones? That's where I first noticed John Goodman's weight loss. I think he looks fine. I don't think he looks sunken or malnourished or gray or gaunt or any of these things that are, attributes of Ozempic face. I just think John Goodman looks strange because we're used to him being heavy. It's whenever you see somebody who's like, you ever like seen a buddy from high school who like had stomach stapling or something like that, and you're like, whoa, I would never in a million years recognize this guy. All right, John Goodman. I don't think he looks bad. I don't think that's Ozempic face. Who's this? Robbie Williams? Robbie Williams. Do we know who Robbie Williams is? Isn't he a British star? I don't think we need to know who Robbie Williams is. All right, there you have it. Anyway, Ozempic face. I would have to say that Scott Disick and Jessica Simpson are the best examples of what they're talking about here. Ozempic face. It's a plague. It's a scourge on Hollywood. All right, let's see what we got here. What else? Okay, here's a fun one. Are you ready, guys? This is kind of an ugly one. We could get into some ugly stuff here, but I don't think so. Let's try and handle this like the mature adults that we are. There's a new study out with fascinating results. Here's the question. Would you marry your spouse today, given all you know and all that you have been through? If you're currently married, would you remarry her today? Or would you maybe roll the dice and hope that maybe, what else is out there? Isn't this like The Price is Right? Or Let's Make a Deal, or something? I think it's Let's Make a Deal, where you can keep the known commodity, which is your wife of the last 20 years, or you can just roll the dice and see what you get. You might, you might get, you might get Sydney Sweeney behind the curtain. That might be an upgrade for you. I don't know. So the question on this was, would you marry your spouse today? 1/3 of respondents said, nope, nope, no thank you. Let's see what this. Love and marriage go together like a horse and carriage, but do longtime spouses feel that way about one another years after saying I do? Whether or not one would still marry their spouse today is a thought-provoking question that indeed many have asked themselves. And this week, blah, blah, blah. Where's it say? 2/3. Yeah. Oh, it's 2/3. The takeaway was clear. About 2/3 of respondents said they would still enthusiastically marry their spouse. 2/3. That's wonderful. Not really. There's like one whole third. 1 out of 3 are like, yeah, no. We're heading to divorce court in the next year and a half. I can smell it on the horizon. I would get out now while the getting's good. That's fascinating. Let's see here. What else do we have? Most atheist states. Let's run through this list. There's another thing that I found this morning. These are the states that have the most atheists in them. Yeah, they got to be like they got to be like northern states, right? Let's see. What is the number here? Let's see here. There is no God. The most atheist states in America are ranked. It says here, West Virginia has the least amount of atheists in these here United States. Sorry, a pop-up just ruined everything. Pop-ups. Well, if we're getting this content for free, I suppose there ought to be a way for them to commoditize it. Do it with pop-ups. All right, West Virginia is the least atheist state. Let's see what the most atheist state is. There we go. Okay, sorry. Should we run through these? Hold on. What is it? What? Hold on. These are all 1% atheists. Oh, I see what they're doing here. Okay. All right. Here. You know what? It looks like I got to go all the way to... Okay, let's just keep going. Sorry. We'll go backwards. You can't have like a story here that says the most atheist state and then have it start with the least atheist state and make me go through 50 pages. That's not fair. What? Hold on. Yeah. Okay. There we go. All right. The most atheist state in these here United States, ladies and gentlemen, with 8% atheists, Vermont. And then you got New Hampshire with 7. See, everything. It's like those are like, it's all the same. Those are arbitrary borders up in that part of the world. That's all just one big chunk of land. New Hampshire, Maine, all of those places. New Hampshire is next with 7% atheists. New York has 5%. Washington, the state of Washington, has 5%. Massachusetts has 5% atheists. Oregon has 5% atheists. And Connecticut has 5% atheists. There y'all. Bunch of godless, liberal, northern Yankee atheist states. There you have it. You wouldn't be shocked to learn that all the top 5 most non-atheist states are all like Mississippi and Alabama, Georgia. Yeah, of course, places where that kind of thing is big. The Cowboy cheerleaders made some news yesterday. Apparently there is I don't understand how this is big news. I heard this on 2 different radio shows being reported yesterday afternoon. Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders have a new show. It's coming to Netflix. It's going to be called Netflix America's Sweethearts. Promises unfiltered access to the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Isn't that what got their old PR guy fired? Remember that guy? Wasn't he looking for unfiltered Rich Dalrymple, right? Wasn't that his name? He was looking for unfiltered access into the cheerleaders locker room. And now look at them. Now they've sold out to Netflix. Watch it be executive produced by Rich Dalrymple. You can't keep him out of the ladies' locker room. No, you can't. Here's why I don't understand why this is such a big deal. Hasn't there been a show on the air for like the last 20 years about the Dallas Cowboys? Isn't it on like the Learning Channel or something like that? So why is this a big deal that Netflix, is it the same show? Is it a different show? I've known a number. Everybody that lives in Dallas for a period of time knows somebody who is a former Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. Let me tell you, that is a cult. That is a cult. Once a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, always a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. It is like, they go out, they have these reunions, they have these meetings where there's 80-year-old women walking around in old cowboy uniforms. It's crazy. I don't have a problem with it. They're the best cheerleaders in football, right? My team doesn't even have cheerleaders. We used to have, when I was little, we used to have the Honey Bears. The Honey Bears were awesome. They were like the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. And if for some reason they got rid of the Honey Bears, we haven't had cheerleaders ever since. Not true. Not true. Actually, the Chicago Bears have cheerleaders on the sideline for every game, but it's a different high school cheerleader. Like it's you win it. It's who's going to be the Bears cheer squad today? Well, it's Carl Sandburg High School from Orland Park, something like that. All right. Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, new show, America's Sweethearts, coming to Netflix. So there you go. Pervy guys. Who's watching? Gay men? It's probably going to be for gay men and little girls, right? Because it's not, pervy guys. We like to think, just a bunch of pervy guys. No. Like Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, they're like princesses to little girls in this area, because daddy's all about the Cowboys. And I don't know. Anyway, whatever. I won't watch it, but maybe you will. A somber goodbye to the great Dickie Betts. Dickie Betts died yesterday at 80 years old. Dickie Betts is one of the founding members of the Allman Brothers. Let's see here. We'll read a little bit from his. I got to be honest with you. I thought Dickie Betts died years ago. So when I saw that he died yesterday, I was like, okay. That's sad, I guess, but I was prepared for it because, like I said, I already thought he died. Betts, who died Thursday at age 80. Dickie Betts, who died Thursday at age 80, really was born a rambling man. He left home at 16 to join the circus and became a renowned guitarist touring the world with the Allman Brothers Band. He wrote the group's biggest hit, Ramblin' Man, and remained on the road until he reached the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Dickie Betts died in his home in Osprey, Florida. His manager of 20 years, David Spiro, said by phone he had been battling cancer for more than a year and had chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. He was surrounded by his whole family and he passed peacefully. They don't think he was in any pain. All right, Dickie Betts, really cool guy. The Allman Brothers, obviously a really cool band, iconic band. A lot of what they were doing was cut short with the death of Dwayne Allman. But a real important band. The Allman Brothers are one of these bands that I didn't get. I wasn't truly exposed to until my 20s. Because, when I was listening to the Police and Duran Duran and all that, the Allman Brothers were from the 70s. And I didn't even know who they were. It's not like they had a bunch of pop hits. They just had a lot of great album cuts, a lot of great music. So I didn't really appreciate him. And when I did think of him, I was like, God, that's stupid stoner music. Bunch of dumb, know-nothing stoners like that garbage. And then, like I said, in my 20s, I started working in radio and I started working around people whose opinions I really, really respected when it came to music. They were older than me. They had seen things. They had done things. So I was kind of more willing to accept, things that maybe I would have thought were, that's not cool. And I got into the Allman Brothers. I really got into the Allman Brothers for a period of time. They were, and I felt like, well, what did I do here? Well, why did I ruin this for myself? I could have enjoyed this band for years. These guys were amazing. The musicianship, the grooves, they were truly special. The Allman Brothers. Dickie Betts, he died yesterday at the age of 80, one of the founding members, along with Greg and Dwayne Allman and I don't know, some other guy. Let's call him Phil Davidson. There you go. Phil Davidson. He's the other guy. Barney says, apparently 2 people have been set on fire in New York in the last 12 hours. Make it hard to follow the story. Yeah. What is the latest on this? U.S. official to CNN, Israel struck inside Iran overnight. Yeah, we know all of that stuff. Guys, if I'm being honest, I think we're done. That's it. That's all I had time to prepare for today. I am so sorry. I promise that I will do a much bigger show on Monday. Monday, we're also got to do the morning show, but on Monday, I won't have to, run and get my kid and I got to do laundry. Cause if his bed sheets and stuff aren't clean, he'll say something. What kind of a 14-year-old boy cares about he'll walk and be like, he did that once. And now every time he comes over, everything gets cleaned for him. The sheets, the blankets, the pillowcases. He went, smells like dog. I'm like, oh, geez, really? He's one of these. I got to do laundry. I got to try and take a nap. Ugh. Frank says he saw the Almonds at Texas Stadium. Wow, really? Was that, Frank, are we going back? Is this one of them Texas Jam stories? I love talking to dudes who have Texas Jam stories. That was quite the concert series that went on down here back in the 70s and 80s. Peter says, no apologies needed. Get some rest and enjoy your weekend. I'm going to. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, that's it. We're going to cut it short. I apologize. Tried to give you a full show. I'm trying. I love y'all. It's going to be a great weekend. Can't wait. We'll have fun. Then Monday morning, again, filling in for the downbeat on 97.1 The Freak. Me and Sybil. God, it's nice working with her. It was so nice to have Kelly on today and to have Kelly on with our old friend Craig Gass, who just by happenstance is in town for the first time in 10 years. And it just happens to coincide with the day when I'm doing a fill-in. And it's not like I do fill-ins a lot over there. So that was terrific. That was really cool. Everything worked out really nice. Pete's got Texas Jam stories. Yeah, you're a richer man than I am, Pete. Thank you, Al. Al, very, very complimentary. Go on over to that freak page on Facebook. There's a couple people who are like, I hate that guy's voice. Now, I'm not saying that that's everybody. There's actually a lot of people saying really nice things. I love Pugs and Kelly. Oh, it's so good to hear them back together. Oh, this was so good. And then you get one guy going, I hate that guy. I listen to his voice. Okay, go over to the freak Facebook page. Say something nice. If you don't make it obvious. Like Pugs sent me here, but you can help a boy out. It might be a little bit, representation is everything, or so they say. All right, guys, that's it. I'm done. I'm exhausted. I got stuff to do. I love you. We'll be back here. Also, it's a weekend where we could have a lot of significant action, global war type action. So make sure you like, you follow, you subscribe, because any kind of big breaking news like that, I'll jump in. Couldn't do it last week because the studio wasn't put together yet, but it's together. It's up. It's operational. We're ready to go. So we do that as well. Make us your home for breaking news. I don't know why you would do that or why I'm still clapping, snapping my fingers. No reason for that. Gotta go. I love you guys. Have a great weekend. Bye.